Welcome back everyone. Today we've been invited to Adrian's fish room again. He sent out the offer a couple of weeks ago and I couldn't resist to come back and have a look at this beautiful room. For all you that don't know, we have toured Adrian's room before and it's absolutely magnificent. We've got ponds, we've got tanks everywhere throughout the whole house. We've got lots of breeding projects going on and Adrian's going to take us through today, update us on what he's been breeding, you know, what you've been working on, all that stuff. I'm really excited to have a look. So we've had a quick look around. Everything looks fantastic. I think a little bit better than last time. So I can't wait to show you it all today.
I pulled an all-nighter last night just about to get it done.
Yeah,
Ella Brett style.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go and have a look. We're going to start off in the garage and then we're going to work our way through the whole entire house. Alrighty, so where do you want to start today?
This is coming along well, actually, the 8-footer. The last time you saw it was pretty close to finished, and then that's how it's grown in from there. So that's no CO2. I had a bit of a battle with black-beard algae for a bit. I decided I'd put the Siamese algae eaters in, so there was 5 in there, and there's actually 4 that I saw yesterday, so they're still in there.
Well, that's not a Siamese, that's a golden.
No, that's a golden, yeah, that's one of the golden algae eaters. The Siamese, they actually school pretty well.
Oh.
Yeah, they are, yeah. Doing their job.
So do they eat blackbeard algae?
They do. So all of the plants were covered, you know, to some degree with blackbeard algae. So they started on the plants and they practically cleaned every last one of them. And now they're into the, you know, to the rocks and the timber and getting back the shape and look of the rocks. They were pretty much covered in blackbeard when I put them in because I like the look of it. I don't mind it, especially in the flow there. You know, to me it's a rare plant that you get that's black. You know, so.
That's a good point. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the look, and you can see here this is a really good example of how to use it.
Yeah, and then hopefully now with the plants being healthy, fertilizing just enough.
From my first impression of this tank, it looked like it might have been a couple of years old. It actually surprised me. I didn't remember that from last time that it's that young.
Yeah, I think it comes down to when you're scaping, if you use, you know, new rocks, new timber, new plants, it looks new. Whereas all of that timber was in the tub out the back. It had blackbeard on it to begin with. For me then, it's really just try to blend the new rocks with the ones with any algae on them and rotate them around so they look as close as they can be to start off. And then of course within days, weeks, months, it'll be covered the same anyway.
Yeah, so this is your main showpiece tank. So
it is. The thought behind it originally was the large tetras. So I hadn't seen too many displays of, schools of groups of large tetras, and these ones in particular I've had for ages. I've grown them all out and I thought, well, I'll do them justice and put them all in together. And there's, the Venezuelan, the blue Colombians, the black widows, there's glow light tetras in there, there's emperor tetras in there, we've got penguin tetras in there, there's 5 orange flash females in here. I lost the boy for some reason. He was going great and he was all over the tank. Maybe he just died of exhaustion. And then I've got my large angels as well. They're the ones that I've had since 5 centimetre type size and grown up. They're a pair there together. They've actually just spawned.
You can see the size of them. They're huge fish. They're really, really big angels. How old would these angels be?
I'm going to say 6 years plus, maybe 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really
So
old.
they've come from my old fish room and I had that one for 7 years and I got them about halfway through and it's been 2+ years now over in this one. So, and that big black angel is enormous, like, bread plate size there.
Yeah, he's massive.
Yeah, he knows he's beautiful too. He comes out and displays quite often.
You can see the sunlight actually coming through, it looks like, hitting him.
Oh, it's brilliant when it does come through the windows. You can see though, I've got to trim it down because it's just gone nuts. So I've actually trimmed that only about a week ago and let some light through because I like it to come into Fafnir over in this tank over here.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a Senegal Bichir, heaps of personality.
Male or female?
I don't know. I've never really looked into how to sex them. Something I should do. I saw one on Gumtree yesterday for sale, roughly the same size. So I wouldn't mind actually getting that one and seeing if I could get a pair because they'd be great to breed.
Apparently they're not hard to breed, but their babies are trickier to raise.
Okay.
And they all eat each other too.
Yeah, right. Well, he started picking off everything pretty much in the tank. That's why I just rescaped that tank for him and he's got his own area in there now and it's like a paradise for him. All of those rocks have got holes and then right through the back they're tunnels that go through and you can see them from either side.
So these are all Adolphois?
Yep.
I've been begging you for some of these.
Yeah, I can catch some out for you.
For sure, man.
Yeah, they're brilliant. I got to say they're one of my favourites.
I've heard mixed stories about people having success breeding them. Like lots of people either have success or like it's, you know, something tricky for them to do.
Yeah, yeah. Fortunately, I'm in the first category, which is they breed for me really well. I don't know if you can see this rock at the back here. See that if you look through there, see it's got a face. See it's got the two eyes at the top there and the mouth at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And they're actually a hollow. And look, the cories are sitting in the mouth down there.
Yeah, yeah. Is that on purpose or like?
Yeah, no, I put it in. Oh, I didn't drill the rock, but that's how it came to me. So I just thought, oh, it looks like a face. I'll stand it up that way. That tank is. I've been wanting to pull it down for ages, and I'm either going to put a pair of discus in here because I think that size of tank, particularly with the depth, would be pretty good for the discus. Whether they breed or not, it's not really for that purpose. I just would like to keep them, or completely different fish and go for a flower horn and grow one from a baby, and then I've got other tanks it could go to depending on how large it gets. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking if I had this top rack, these ones have got the peppermints in them.
Yes.
So they're my breeding colony of peps, and they've been a bit slow lately. And I'm going to mix it up. I've got in that 8 footer. There's another 25 peps in there as well. So
do you think that they've been slow because it's summer?
I do. I find they breed much more in winter time.
Yeah.
And I've heard too, mixing the colony around, you know, putting new males and females in, get some going again. So I'm definitely going to do that. I think the plecos I want all down the bottom, and then I could have another personality fish here, like the wet pet style thing. So I'd have Fafnir, the flower horn, and then something else. And of course it's at head height.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then of course on this side too, you've got that view of that tank. So I thought for a flower horn, that's pretty cool, both sides. I've had Oscars before.
You've actually got eggs here. Yeah, they've been breeding.
Yeah, you want some eggs? Take some eggs.
Yeah, actually I will.
Yeah, I'll show you my egg hatchery over there.
Yep.
It's a pretty basic one, but it seems to work. This has got a pair of neon blue acaras. I think they're at the back. They've got a spawn in there of about 25 or 30 left. They do a battle every night with the cories to stop them eating them. So I leave that light on above the sink there so that they can see them coming, and they've managed to get sort of 25 or 30 of them going. I haven't been able to stop them breeding pretty much. So there's a pair there, and I've got a heap on the other side as well.
It's amazing how much their colours change when they're trying to breed.
Yeah.
Like they're really darkened up.
Yep. You'll see the difference in what you call a display tank of them over there in their display colours.
It's so funny you say display tank because everything in here is almost display quality.
And these are just in this last one. There's just little babies that have grown up. And that big black one in the 8 footer, once I clean this tank out, I'm gonna pair him up with her and see what I get as far as a colour mix goes. I got her and the other male given to me, and they were just really nice colours. And as you can see how these guys here, like the shine on this one here, it's got a bent dorsal, so I kept that one just for that reason, so I don't sell them, but the shine on it's crazy.
They're beautiful. They're really beautiful fish. So multi-dimensional, you know, the top like you've got all the plants coming down into the water. It's almost like you got a creek in the side of your garage.
Yeah, I really do. I think you should say that because I've actually got a fiberglass spill from a pond that I was actually thinking of putting up there and having it spill into the 8 footer.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it is. It's very much that, you know, what we go out and see in the bush, it's trying to replicate that here. So, you know, you can see it every day. You can actually enjoy it, you know.
Yeah, I admire the creativity too.
You know, I think when you build, you know, if you're going to go into it in such a way that you're going to actually create a tank that someone's, you know, whether they see it or not, I guess, as long as, if it's something that's beautiful to you when you create it, if it's inspiring when you're doing it, and then further to that is if it inspires you every time you walk past it, or if it inspires someone else, if it motivates you to do more. I just find something that it's this living art that you can really get into. You know, the more that you enjoy it, the more that you can do with it. And I find that if you can create something that's beautiful to look at, as well as functional and creates life like that, that's, you know, it's just a win-win-win. It
brings you like a sense of peace too.
Yeah.
Like looking at all this, you know, coming in and seeing things happen, seeing things die, seeing things live, breed. I think it's really grounding. Yeah.
Watching the natural behaviour of the fish, and we've seen that out in the creeks, you know, and all of Jason's amazing footage that he does, you know. Trying to replicate that, I think, is the goal when you try to do something naturalistic like that. And if you can do that and you see them be doing those same displays as they do out in the bush, then that to me is success, you know. I've got a tadpole in here that...
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get a torch and show you in a sec.
How often do you have to clean this thing?
If I do it monthly, it works way better. But as you can see, it's starting to build up. So I changed the top layer 2 days ago, and it just needs a clean out. So, but yeah, I would say monthlies with the size of the system that I've got, particularly with the 397s, and I'll show you an example of what they do.
They're dirty.
Oh my god,
dirty fish, man.
I clean the bio balls pretty regularly, so every time I turn or do a water change, I'll take them out and rinse them because they're obviously more effective when they're cleaner. And then I just keep replacing that till it looks like that, and then in the next week or so I'll take that out. And there's my tadpole here.
Yep. So a little marsh frog or something, or
he is a marsh frog. Yeah, you probably see him better from the top actually.
Okay. Where'd you find him?
Do that now.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, he's one of the little buggers. It's completely invaded the rice fish Medaka, or the tiger Medakas. So yeah, he's got 100 or 200 more brothers and sisters out there. And
how do you raise them?
Just like fish, basically.
Yep.
You know, with the exception of I've moved it now, but I have the rock. He's not ready to get out of the water yet, but you just have something like that sticks up out of the water as his arms develop. And I'll keep the water level roughly, you know, on this sort of a lip here. As his arms develop, he'll slowly pull himself up further and further, and then he'll lose his tail. And yeah, by that stage, he'll need another container. But I just put him in there. He was
beautiful.
You know, I just thought, well, why not? I haven't raised a tadpole to a frog since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you know, I may as well do it now. Out of this, I think probably this is my favourite tank. I don't do a whole heap to it, but I think aesthetically it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, the lotus looks really good in here.
Yeah, and it's greening up because of the light. You know, obviously the more red, the darker it gets. But they're the black Venezuelans.
Yep.
And harder to breed than.
No fertilized eggs for you yet?
No, not. I can't say that I have. And I've got so many snails in here. I rarely see them, and because they're so secretive with where they hide them, you know, I rarely find them. Would you believe there's about 35 cardinals in there?
They're cardinals.
And they're all hiding.
Yeah.
I was going to put my hand at the back, but I'll see.
You can see them. You can see them for sure.
Yeah, I was going to see if you can see the arowana, you know, like that I call it, but it's the butterfly,
The
African butterfly fish. Yeah, they look arowana to me, but if he's at the top, at the back there somewhere.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. They look almost insect-like.
They're brilliant. And I feed him live crickets.
So will he take anything else?
No, he struggles with worms and stuff every now and again. I've got to, you know, but this is where I breed the crickets.
So you breed them?
Yeah, get them from babies, grow them up, and then when the females, you know, get large enough and the males get the really long tail, you just put a container of dirt in there, just some moist sand, dirt, put some fly screen over it so they can't eat their babies and their eggs, and then they'll just put the little proboscis in, the females will put it into the dirt, and then they'll lay all the eggs, and you take that out and stick it in another container, and you've got yourself more babies. So they reproduce pretty well, these guys. If they get out, I'm happy to, like if you know, because I breed them to basically feed them. So if I open the top and they're jumping everywhere, I'll put the lid down, I'll catch the 2 or 3 that I need, and then I'll let the rest go.
Yeah.
So I let them, you know, if they've got that ability.
Oh, he's found a... Is he good at hunting them?
He is.
How cool. I've never seen something like this before.
Hopefully he'll be...
He might have had a big Christmas
shy.
dinner.
They're very shy fish, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But when they go, like, you'll actually hear him splash the water and hit the cricket.
It looks like down here you have 397 on
Yep.
eggs.
So they're 397s. That's my main breeding colony. I gotta say, you know, touch wood, I've never had a problem. They breed consistently. I've always got various size babies from 1 centimetre to 5 centimetres in there. Are there any out at the moment, the bubbies?
Yeah, there's heaps.
Yeah.
He's smashing it, dude.
Yeah, I'm getting them monthly, which is great.
How many are in your adult colony?
I had 12 when I put them in, and I've got another 12 adults over in the tank. I'll show you over there as well.
They're really cool, like as babies, like they look like tigers.
I think they look fantastic. They're probably the best looking when they're young. That's the colours. Like most of the plecos, like the 333s and the zebs and all the rest of it. The zebs might be an exception, but when they're young, they don't look as spectacular as when they grow up.
Yeah.
These are the opposite. These look brilliant when they're young. They look, colours are awesome, and then as they grow up, they'll fade.
Yeah, and they also they're really dirty, like they make so much mess.
Oh yeah. If you look around to the right-hand side, I like that tank. It's like a secret view around there.
Oh, yeah.
So, and usually, depending on, you know, what mood they're in, they're hanging out down the back there.
This is definitely the best way to breed plecos, I reckon. Like when you just kind of set them up in a really natural tank.
Yep.
You can't look at them. you can't flash a light in their cave.
Yep.
And then you just wait until you see babies.
So the babies, and they come out, and then because they grow up in that tank from that size, when they're an inch and 2 inches long, they're nowhere near as shy as what they are in a glass tank with nothing else in there. He's a plain one, so he got in. He went down that. This is my disaster tank, as you always have with plecos. But I put a pair in there, hundreds, and the tiny babies went through the drains. Instead of going through the pump, they got out the other drains into the other tanks. Oh. So they're in every tank. Oh. Fafnir ate the rest of them in that one.
She looks hungry, or he, or...
Yeah, so there was none in that, but the rest of them have got them in there, and I try to pick them out. But the good thing about the commons is only having 1 or 2 in there is, and I think I've got females, luckily, is they keep the glass clean.
Oh, do they smash algae?
Yeah, I really don't have to do much because, of course, the 397s don't. This tank over here, you'll see, is just bombarded. Now, there's actually about 40 matai cories in there, which, you never see. They're just
they're
back
so
in the hole.
elusive.
Yeah, and there's so many, hundreds of plecos and babies. They've just come out.
Some really colourful rummies.
Yep.
Those tetras.
Yep. Yeah, there's some nice rummies there. They're going to come out and go into the 8-foot of those ones. And I've got another 25 rummies up there, so I'll have a school of 30 in that 8-footer.
I'd love to see you try and breed those.
Yeah, I've never tried to breed them, actually.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. The wild type angels.
Wild type angels, so they've paired up and spawned 3 or 4 times. But
they were on eggs when I first came here.
Yeah, they've got them to wriggler stage and then free swimming, but then the tetras that was it.
Yeah, game over.
So it was game over, yeah.
So there's just common bristlenose pairs in here?
Yeah, just the common bristlenose.
Yeah, you can see the little babies everywhere.
These guys are old, these Harlequin rasboras, and they've got to be, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, those guys, and I've had them forever. It doesn't matter where I put them or what sort of water, they just live, these things. And I've always, for some reason, I don't know how, I've never bought one of those, is it Priscilla tetras?
Oh, yeah?
I've never bought one of them in my life, but I've always got one in a tank somewhere. There's one of those in there, and then these are some babies that have grown up. That's a new boy I just put in there for the females.
Well, you've got eggs in there. Did you know that?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
So, if you look down here, can you look from the other side?
It's a bit dirty, but I can...
You can see her.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you can see how many eggs that. Yeah, so that's how many babies, and every one of those will hatch.
They're really prolific, hey.
Oh, crazy.
How do you sex these fish? Because I'm gonna try and breed them.
Okay, so see how this is the mum here. See how the black goes all the way down between her eyes, under her eyes, right to her mouth, and right up to the dorsal, and she's quite wide. But she's a square wide, whereas the boys are more of that angular. I find that it's not a nuchal hump, but they'll get a larger head than the girl, and the female will be fatter for sure. Yeah, so she's darker, much darker, and you'll see when he comes out. I might even just drop a little bit of food in for them because they'll...
Do they also get a longer dorsal fin?
They do, but the girls can also, they look pretty similar. I go mostly by the head.
What a cool angle.
Yeah, that's a cool shot.
And what a cool fish. They're really cool, man.
Yeah. And they'll raise those up in there, no probs, other than there's about 45 or 50 pandas in here. They hunt as a pack, they really do when they school, that's the behavior we like to watch. That's actually their feeding behavior and their hunting. So when they're going around, then one will dart out like a test to see where they're going. And as the mother goes for that, 2 more, or the pack will actually go for the spore, for the fry. Yeah, they're really interesting to watch, and I don't like to see them going, but I'd have thousands of acara otherwise. Your shot would be just packed with acara, so with
there's heaps there already.
Yeah, I've got 100 in the container over there.
Would you want to go look at it?
Yeah, maybe start up here because I can see them out a bit at the moment. They'll be a bit shy because of I rescaped the tank last night for them, but that's the purple lay lupi there. That's a reptile hut cave that I turned sideways. I thought the males would go in there mostly, but I find the females like to hide in them. And I've actually got the design I thought of would be good for plecos, but that's actually where I saw it. I think on YouTube someone was using something similar. I thought that's a good idea, and I could actually look in the cave. And
it's a clever idea.
Yeah.
So the purple lupi, is it a type of a coloured strain of a yellow lemon cichlid?
Not that I know of. The only one that I can see close to it is black, but they're not black. They're purple. That's all tang water over there. So everything in there is on that sump is Tanganese. So it's, I'm going to say 8.2, 8.5, somewhere like that. I don't know. It's something I've tried to work out. Is it a colour morph? Is it just, like you can see how purple that pair is above the sponge filter there. They get orange on the fins, and then they can turn their orange fins purple.
So have you had much success breeding them?
Yeah, I've had a few spawns. The last one I had in here, and it lasted about 4 days and then got eaten, and I was disappointed, but I just never got to it. And I've got another pair I've taken out and put into a tank over there as well, just on their own, and they're actually spawning. And they haven't laid eggs yet, but they're doing the the flashing and the shimmying and all that sort of stuff. And I gave a pair to Eliza,
I remember that,
the guru of breeding fish, so that she can actually teach me how to breed them properly.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tank.
Yeah, gee, that's less than 24 hours old, that one.
Just tons of rock everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you achieve that pH that you want?
I use the tang buffer. I need to go up, and cichlid salts. It's the only 2 chemicals I use.
So you just chuck that in the sump?
I do it into the sump, but Tony taught me a long time ago that it's best to mix up a decent container of it with this many tanks that I've got, and rather than just have it in the sump and sort of trickling in, put some in the sump and then put the same amount in each tank and do it, and then come back with what's left goes back in the sump, and then it gives this even dose across the tanks. So
look at this Xanadu over you.
Yeah, that's been in there a month or more now. I need a light above it, and it would grow really well, because they do grow really well inside. But that's just literally those leaves, those new leaves are just on the ambient light that's around here at the moment. The blue acara.
Oh,
so
yep.
Interesting thing I found out again last night. So as you know, the sump has bowed and broken. You and I have been talking about this for a while, and
yeah,
I'm actually ordering a new one tomorrow. But if you have a look along the sight line there, I'll just move those plants, you can see how much it's bowed across. That's your plant, by the way. That's the one you gave me in New York. Yeah. But see how it's come away a little bit there, but see how the baffle down here?
Yeah, it's really bowed.
So it's 1/2 inch maybe there at the top, and it's still sealed down the bottom.
Yeah.
So the glass is, I've got bits of foam here wedging it in, and this has been maybe a month now to get this sump. It's just so hard with Christmas and trying to get it all organised and everything. So I've been looking online. I would have bought one online at Gumtree, but you can't. So anyway, that blue acara is spectacular. Tone gave me 3 of them. He killed one girl same day we got them. Had the pair bred once up there for me. I've got 40 odd babies, which I gave to Tone to grow out, and he's going to give some back now. And they bred once in here, and there's one little female left in here. And I could not find the girl. I thought he's killed her for sure, like guaranteed. Last night, I took this out over here, but right up in the back, that very last part of the sump up there where the pump is.
She's in there.
She was in there.
So
she'd come out, obviously onto something like this, and gone in here or off the wall and into the sump. And I haven't fed her, that's been 6 months. It's been that long. I just had completely forgotten about her. And so I don't know what she's been eating. Obviously there's enough food or something to get
picking
through.
Her rocks.
She's survived. So that was great. So he was reunited with his wife last night. Next one is the rainbow tank. Yeah, thank you. It's about to get an overhaul at the Aqua One filter. It was a high flow river for the rainbows, as you know, and then it's now stopped and still. It's only running on the tower filter above it and 2 sponge filters in there.
So you've got salmon red rainbows?
Salmon red rainbows and the lacustris, the turquoise.
I love the lacustris.
The salmon red were the ones that you gave me, the 9 of those, the night of the fish auction.
Yep.
The blues, the turquoise, were the ones that I bought at that fish auction.
Yep.
The rads are the ones that you gave me, I think, last time.
It wasn't me. I think it was Eliza.
Eliza, was it?
Yeah,
okay, great.
We're going to go collect these.
Yeah, they're the ones that I'm desperate to see in nature and just see where they came from. The colours on those guys, they get amazing in the sunlight. They're probably on par with the turquoise, with the lacustris,
They're just a little bit washed out, probably because it's the afternoon now, but also the substrate. You can see there's a perfect little male there and a really good looking female there. But they're such an interesting fish. I'm really keen to go out and look for them.
Yeah. So they like the flow. I'll just streak past you there.
Yep.
And I'll just turn this manifold. So that one's on. So yeah, it's a bit clunky, but it's like an old steam engine, I think, but I know what I'm doing, so it works. But you can see the flow, that's flat out. But those boys will probably jump up into that flow and put their display on.
So does the flow help rainbows to display?
They love it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, look at them.
The boys in particular. they'll get straight up in the flow and spar and carry on, and then the females will actually spawn above all that Java moss and stuff in there.
And you've also got a ton of cories.
Yeah, I'm interested to pull it out, you know, when I pull that tank down and see what I've got in there, because if my memory serves me correctly, there was 120, 130, 150, it was something like that as far as stir-bys that went in it, and they were from my old fish room and my old 6-footer. They breed all the time, so they've got to at least have kept up to that number, if not more, and I've pulled, you know, maybe 20 of them out, not a whole heap. But that tank is actually, I'm thinking of hitting Jason up from Australian Biotopes to come and actually do a project with me and get him to create me a similar type of thing. I think what he's done at Katie's place with her tank, but for me, I'd like a high flow rainbow display tank, and I'd probably keep the cories in it, but I just think he's...
You should get some massive gudgeons.
Yeah, some purple spot gudgeons in there would be cool, yeah.
But he'd lick his lips seeing this. And you've also got a ton of different plants growing out the top of this one.
Yeah.
Do you know what they are? There's a calathea there.
There you go. I really like that one. It's done well, and that's with just a limited amount of light from the spotlights that you get from Bunnings there. And as you can see, it's completely covered. I don't do anything with it, really.
The cynogodiums are blocking it, are they? Or are they elephant ears?
Yeah, so yeah.
You got some philodendron here?
Mate, I don't know what's growing out of there. There's some spophyllum, there's some pothos. I did have some bromeliads, but for whatever reason, they did get watered enough, but they dry out really quick in this room. So
they don't like wet feet that much, I found.
I agree, because they rot from that. They get that smell.
Yeah,
that you get
like
that
it.
rotten stuff.
These guys have babies, I saw.
Yeah, they've got babies in there now. So I don't know where they are. Can you see it? There she is.
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah, so the babies will be with her.
Yeah, you can see one baby right there.
I'll see if I can get it from the other side.
So what type of, these are Borrelia?
These are Borrelia, yeah, Borrelia.
Yeah, there's a few little babies here. You might have 30 or 40 of them.
Nice.
So they've been eating them?
I think so. They had one spawn before. Sounds callous, but I'd rather leave him and her together and maybe risk that whole spawn again and see if they get it right, because it just means that little bit of pain, that short-term pain till they get it right, is a long-term gain. So whenever I've got them and they're raising their babies, I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I really don't like to pull babies. It's not something
I've quit doing it with my apistos.
Yeah.
I quit. I retired it.
They eventually get it.
Even with plecos, man, I just quit. I just said, no, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this. If they're gonna do it, I'm gonna give them to someone else and they can do it, because
Yeah.
I got too many fish and I want the fish to learn.
And they do. They genuinely do. And you just have to persevere. It's like everything with your tank. If it's not right, you won't fix it overnight. You just got to take your time, and then it's a patience. That's a great thing about this hobby, is this teaches kids patience. This is something where you go, I was at a fish shop at Ross's the other day. This lady came and said, I want that better. I want that bowl, and I want to, go now. And Ross said, well, sorry, it doesn't work that way. This is the cycle. This is what you've got to do. And for kids, that instant gratification is everywhere. Fish keeping as a hobby isn't instant gratification. It's patience, it's practice, it's persistence at what you're doing, and then comes the reward, and that reward is far greater than that instant, I know about it, I saw it on Instagram, I saw it on YouTube, I'm an expert.
I get worried sometimes that my videos promote that a little bit, like with I take months to record certain videos, and it might not look like it, but if I'm breeding danios or breeding betters or something like that, I mean, those videos are 3 months long to record, like to get all the way to babies, and you have to cut it down into a 10-minute video, and it turns out being the instant gratification.
That's right, yeah.
So, I think I do have to do a better job explaining that, but that's so true with your hobby. And also, I think dealing with the fact that things aren't perfect, because everything's living, that's something that's tricky.
True. Yep, and no fish really are, easy. You go, oh, I'll just read from that book and I get it right every time if I do these things. It's not like that. It's a recipe that includes your tank. That's what I was going to show you. They'll be a bit skittish because they, for whatever reason, I think it's the acaras that scare the emerald green cories.
Yeah.
I'll move this light because they actually come out, hopefully. They don't mind the light. This tank has got whatever's left of my best looking acaras I decided to keep. It would have at least 9 adult 397s, 10 of the emerald green cories, which will probably come out. That's why if I do the...
Have you spawned those yet?
No, and that's why I want to get this tank. This was just to sell out of.
Yeah.
And then I thought I'll stick them in there. I've got to put some timber in there and went. But look at the mold. I mean, this is black sand, so gravel, and then it just does this. This is what 397s do. Yeah. And it goes right around here. Look at it all the way around.
We'll ship some of this to LRB. You need some more.
Isn't that crazy?
awesome.
So I can never keep that tank clean. I did that 100% water change on that. Just
imagine what the Xanadu would do if you put a light over it. They would just go boom.
Oh yeah, agreed. That's why I was thinking those spotlights, you know, the LED ones
Yeah,
that
man.
we use above the top there, because it will also light see how this is going out the top as well.
I feel like even if you had more cover on this apisto tank, it might help them because they might just be getting wigged out by you being able to walk all the way around them.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
But they have to learn.
Agreed. Yeah,
What's down here?
So I'm not going to stop walking all the way around them. Again, that's just a sail tank, although having said that, I've got some really spectacular super red bristlenose. Tony gave me a whole colony of these guys. He's under the log there. And then there's just what's left of the endlers. I've moved most of the endlers. There's a couple of really nice ones in there I'm going to pull out as the breeders, but they're all just for sale. This guy here that's sort of
All these are
displaying there.
firetails.
Long
Oh,
tail,
there
mate.
you go. There's what the firetail is. So you do get the throw-offs back to the tigers, but firetails do come out.
That's right.
You have to be patient with them.
Correct. And you've got to take the time to actually pull them out.
Adrian's working on purifying it, but everything takes time. And if you want to buy them from my shop,
Yep.
it's you got to wait. Like, I mean, you get them early, and you got to also work on it too.
Correct, yeah. And then you should do the same thing, cull it and make the line as strong as you can. But they do get quite spectacular, and the dorsal fins go right up on some of the other males as well. So trying to just get the blend between them.
What are these down here?
Which ones? Oh, they're the chain loaches. Yeah, they're old fish. Again, 5 to 7 years in that range. I got them in my old fish room.
How many snails do they eat?
The smaller ones they'll knock off. These bigger ones they don't sort of hit for whatever reason, which is weird because there's a clown loach in there as well. He's actually in the pipe over here. This guy's going to Tony. Tony's got a colony, a massive colony. You know.
Oh, yep.
So he's going to go today. In
flash
fact.
that in.
Yeah.
There we go. No, now he's gone.
So that tank is probably my worst one. Let's go across to these ones over here.
Yeah,
We've
these
only
got some cool fish in them.
Yeah, so this one down here while he's out, that's a black tiger dario in there.
So they almost look like an apisto.
They do, and they're a really sort of flighty fish. She's the more dominant one of the group. That's the smaller boy. There's a larger boy in there as well, but they get quite red and they'll spar each other sort of every now and again over her, but they haven't bred as yet. But they're ones that I'm really sort of working on. That tank has exploded with black cherries.
Wow.
So I put 10 in there. I stopped counting at 60 the other night. There was too many. You see them on the rocks, you see them, and they're breeding pretty true. I haven't found any that I'd pull out there, although Ross seems to think I'll get blue ones in there as well. But I am super surprised because these guys only eat live food.
Wait, the black ones?
The tiger darios.
I was going to say.
I would have thought the tiger darios would have predated for sure on the smaller black ones, but they haven't done. And then even with these lime green rasboras, I mean, I love the colours on these guys, but they're quite feisty as far as, you know, feeding goes as well. Getting the
Well, it must be all your, plants and stuff.
yeah, the bulbitis looks good in there. I'm really happy with that.
So they would hide all the baby shrimp.
Yeah. These guys, look how small. Like they really dig in there though. So I've never seen a micro predator live with these sorts of shrimp.
They must just be producing at like a rate where
Agreed.
it's just symbiotic.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yep. Next tank up is the koi guppies. They're Tony's.
Yep. Tony's
Toys?
famous.
Yeah, he said he has heaps of them at the moment, like heaps and heaps.
We might even have these in the shop by then.
There's, I think, 6 of the dwarf corridoras. There's one on a rock just down over there as well.
Oh yeah, pygmies.
Yeah, little pygmies in there. So they're breeding in there. I get little babies every now and again. I'm not trying to breed them in there. I've got another dozen upstairs in the tank as well. So
Apparently they don't eat their babies because their mouths are so small.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I've bred them. They're not something I've ever really set out to breed, but I've always bred them in tanks. I've been able to have opportunistic sort of spawns and stuff, and I've never pulled them out. But
You got lots of guppy babies in here too.
heaps of guppy babies, yeah, they're all over. I like the view from underneath when you look up at it's like a pennywort, isn't it? Is it a Brazilian something or other? But it's mini lilies, really.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
Looks cool from above too.
it does, yeah. And like, look at the way this is growing out of here.
Wow.
I think it's Monte Carlo.
Yeah, that's really cool.
They just sort of create its own ecosystem. Similarly with this one,
Kochu tetras.
Kochu, there you go. Still look, one pair left. Eventually I might breed them.
They're in that book, Ornamental Fish Farming, if you want to learn how to do it.
Yeah,
You'll have to separate them out.
for sure. Neon, are they green?
They're green neons.
Green neon tetras, yeah.
Yeah, they're cool.
And I got 3 pencil fish left up there as well.
Yeah, they're a pain in the butt to breed too.
Yeah, same thing with those. I've bred them, but not specifically brought out, spawns. I've just had tanks with heaps and heaps of moss, and then I've cleaned the moss out and found babies. I guess while we're here, we'll do this side. This tank is functional, not aesthetic. But if you look through there, you'll see the Julidochromis capilli gold, and you'll see them on the rocks over, that's them. I had one female, and Jack from Mad Aquariums gave me the male out of his display tank, so I've got a whole heap to take him back up now. But those guys, they've been really hard to find, capilli golds, and I've found them really quite difficult to breed compared to Julies, and then I put that one pair together, and then they just went nuts. So.
And you got some guppies in there?
Guppies, yeah, just as a dither fish, really. They're okay.
Some little babies in here too. What's going on up here?
Yeah, so that one, I really like that tank. That's a Tanganyika tank. We've got the Julidochromis dickfeldi there in the middle with the stripes on them, and then behind and upwards you've got the black bee or bumblebee or black bee, I think they're called Siptochromis. That's the male on the right, and then the females on the left. There's a couple of girls there.
Harlan was just asking me if this is a marine tank. So.
It has that feel to it, doesn't it? It's, I think all the tanks could possibly look like that with the lay lupi and so forth. And then they're similars. Since, like the first video, I've had, some people come around and buy some fish and bits and pieces, and everyone tells me they're the largest similis they've ever seen. So they're quite predatory too, actually. They definitely pick off the babies. When you raise the camera up, it's basically over this little thing here.
The gold?
She's gold, yeah.
They're really slow.
Yeah. I've never seen them before anywhere. And if I can clean them up, a golden similis would be amazing.
Oh, these are similis?
They're similis, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's quite golden. It's something that she's had since a tiny fry. And I think it's her sister over here as well. There's another one that's the same, but they've both had spawns. So those babies that she's above, I'm hoping that there might be 1 or 2 in there that I can actually find a gold out of and pull them out and start to get
and
that
these
line.
breed themselves?
Totally, yeah. So they're a shell dweller, and the similis, I really like them and the multifasciatus. So they're Neolamprologus similis and Neolamprologus multifasciatus. These guys are definitely a different personality. Like they're just more aggressive. They're more active, and they'll have a go at you as well when you go into the tank. They pair up really well with the Siptochromis, but as soon as the girls are mouth brooders, so they'll have anywhere from 2 to 12 babies, and they'll hold them for 10 days, so they get completely full, like a mouthful of marbles type thing. If you don't catch them out and get the babies out at that time, the second that they come out, the similis just nail them. So I've had a spawn there, and you can see there's one lone baby. He's just gone over the rock over there. So here's the one that survived out of the last spawn. I even grew them up to probably half that size and released them in there, and then I unfortunately watched the 4 of them get nailed, and he was the last one left. But last night, when I was cleaning all the tanks, was the time that I finally got her out, and I'll show you that one now while we're talking about them. But there is 12 little babies.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm extremely pleased about that. That's something I've been waiting a long time for, to get a successful group out. So now I've more than doubled my my colony. And this is a nursery tank. This one, while we're down here, has got these guys. It's got the koi swords and the kohaku swords. You'll see them coming out here. It was just perfect timing. I was like, what am I going to do with these fish? And this tang water, this is tang water in here because the swords like harder water. And I just turn it on and drain it into here, and it drains straight out to outside. So basically I was able to just completely 100% water change, drop these guys straight into the water they were bred in. They were all swimming upright, yeah, and then they're going to grow up with these guys, which is pretty cool. Got all the baby
they're
crips
cute
in there too.
So what types are these? Is Wendet eyes?
Yep. Yep, and I'm not sure of the green,
orange, or gold. Tall green one there.
Yep, and then the red ones of the same version. I just I bought them in the little tissue cultures, and I just separated them out, stuck them in there.
They look cool from the top too.
These are, I think they're Werneri. They're like a Brachard eye, but I like the way that their scales, they get really defined with the black around each scale. and they get, you know, black dorsals and blue eyes, and they're in there with Julidochromis malariae. There's two Brachardi that have jumped over here and here as well, which I've got to get them out. You'll see one of
Yeah,
the
I think I was
over
recording
here.
them before, yeah.
Yeah, they're nightmares. I can't stop breeding these things. You'll just see that they just keep going and going. The parents at the back there, you see them they're about to spawn again, or they've either got eggs or they're spawning now, or...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then you go this size fry, then you go to this size fry, and then we're down to these tiny babies as well. So they just keep on breeding. They look good as a group, like really good. They school together. They're quite okay as far as coming out and not shy. The transcript just behind them, there's a heap of babies in there. You'll see them up on the rock over here on the right-hand side.
They look so marine. I just can't help but think they are, you know what I mean? Can we look at this one down here? Well, I guess we'll look at this one.
Yeah. So in the corner, this is the last couple of days that tank's going to be there. So that acara's jumped out of the acara tank on your right, bounced off somewhere and got in there. So yeah,
Jumped down, boom, in there.
So he's in there. Hence, I don't have any Goodyead or Gadiad babies. So the Gadiads are the endangered ones, and you know, you couldn't have fallen into a worse tank. But those guys are moving over here to this Congo tank in the next couple of days.
Not this tank. Right?
No,
over
I'll show
the
you.
other side.
Yeah, you'll see the difference between the boys and the girls there. With basically, they got the blue one with the yellow tail there, or the half blue.
Oh wow!
boy,
Yeah. Beautiful fish, man.
So basically, they're an endangered species. As far as I was aware, that they're extinct in the wild. How you tell whether they're Eisenai or San Marcos or whatever the difference is, I don't know. But they're really interesting in the fact that they're one of the only fish species that live bearers that actually has an umbilical cord with each baby. A lot of times when they're born, you'll actually see the remnants of the umbilical cord before it drops off. So they're really unique as far as the species of fish. And I think there's one called a skiffia, which I would love to find in Australia, like a black and yellow sort of tiger one. But those guys I've got to get out. I know Eliza's got some of them, so we need to
Populate them.
Yeah.
Please do. They'd go really cool in the shop, bro.
Yeah, they're great, and they can live out all winter outside as well. These guys are the Ornata pinus, so another shell dweller. So that's the girl. It's another girl there, and the boy will be to your right. That's him. They breed quite well. They are definite baby eaters of each other's babies. The girls will pick them off, you know, once their backs turn pretty much. So there are babies in there that have sort of grown up and they hide at the back. I've got to pull that tank down, and Mick, who you've done a fish room tour of his place, he wants a pair of those. So I've got to break it down and get a pair out for him, and then try to get them going, because again, they're hard to find.
You've got some real interesting stuff in here.
Yeah, and you know my pain with the triple threes.
How many do you have?
4 or 5. There's at least 4 in there because I can see them in the tubs, but I think I put 6 in there really. I really need to get them out, see if they're males and females. I mean, even combine your colony with my colony and do something different with them, because whatever I'm doing is not working. And this is one of those.
Swap a few of them around. Like I take a few of yours, you take a few of mine.
It's one of those patience and persistence things, isn't it? You know, what do we do with them? Next one's over just a holding tank. There are some Cauda punctatus in there. I don't know if you'll see them, but that's just all for sale basically. And I've got to clean that as a breeding trio. So once I do that, I'll clean that tank out and put something else in there, probably some shellies. So we've got the Zeb Danios above it, of course, but there's black ocellatus, the shell dwellers in there. So that was the main breeding colony, but the parent male, he died only a week or so ago. I had him for years as well, and I've had these guys. I've been breeding this line, if you like, now for at least 6 or 7 years. And my son and I went on a road trip up to, I think it was Mackay, to buy the original pair.
Wow.
And then we got them, and I've just been breeding them. And that male had one eye in him since he was born, pretty much. And he's basically been the best breeder I've got. So he passed, and then I've got a few in other tanks as well. But I'm waiting for these other babies to grow up to get a male to stick in with these girls again. So
sure.
This is an interesting colour snail, though, when you have a look too. They're called magenta. Ross has given them to me to actually breed them. They're supposed to be magenta. They are really difficult to breed too.
Magenta mysteries?
I don't know why. Yeah, they're mystery snails, but yeah, they don't seem to have a very successful spawn or success rate, really.
Right.
But anyway, I'm going to keep persevering because...
And some Hawaiian sunset platies?
Hawaiian sunset platies, yeah, they're pretty prevalent still. I've got them. They're really good as far as tangs and all the rest of it. They actually can put up a fight, no problems. I'll just stick some feed in up there and see if these humpheads come out, because he's about 3 inches or so long, I guess. And he'll dash out and smash the food if he does. Yeah, really elusive fish, those guys. That's not the tank for an elusive fish for whatever reason. I thought you'd come out way more, but they haven't bred in there yet. I've had a heap of them, but I kept that one pair because I thought I'd actually get them to breed. This tank is a good tank. It's worth spending some time on this one. This is the multifasciatus. Wow, so it's a low boy tank, this one. It was actually a sump that I got, and it was cracked and someone threw it away, and you'll see where I repaired it. I'm not really into the aesthetics of it there. It was more the functionality. I wanted a low boy tank to do exactly this. So there's been a heap of guppy grass go in there. There's been a heap of val go in there. If you want plants in there as guppy grass, because it doesn't need to root into the substrate, because they're just little miners, you know, these guys. That will look different the next time you come here. And how about this for finding an unusual fish? Look on the top of the sponge filter.
Oh, wow. What is that?
That's a gudgeon, a firetail gudgeon. I do not know how it got in there. Not a clue. And it's been in there since it was a fry. I thought it was a Daisy's rice fish, because I had some Daisy's rice fish in there, and it wasn't.
Weird, man.
Weird. You can see how many babies there's.
Heaps of little juveniles here.
Yeah.
And then you've got juveniles, you got fresh born babies down here.
Yeah.
How many do they have at a time?
Look, I'd say 10, you know, it's probably average, 10 to 12. You do see bigger spawns and stuff, but they don't eat their babies.
You know what I love about them? They're like, all their faces are like,
yeah.
they just look at you like that.
Yeah. And see, they're much smaller, like half the size of the Simulus, aren't they? You know, those are, and the Simulus, you can see the teeth. They've got big teeth, you know.
Cool fish.
Yeah, cool fish. Next one's down just as a guppy breeding tanks, and they're not on the system. But I flush the tank water through it. But that's another one where all the guppies just go nuts. And I'm going to clean them out of there. I'll put the guppies into a tub if I keep them at all, and put Medaka rice fish down there, because they don't need filter. They don't need, you know, anything really to, and you see them from the top, which is the benefit. That's what you want with the Medakas, you know. So they're black calvus up there. They're beautiful.
There's one of them.
Yeah, that's the girl. So she's in there. She'll have fry. So they're like tiny fry. So she's got a heap in there at the moment. In fact, there's that one. Oh, you'll see them beneath her, and also they come to the front of the glass for some reason. And then he'll be in the bigger cave on your left as you go across. He's a really big boy. But the baby's in there. That's my second spawn, and they've actually got to now quite a reasonable sort of swimming size, and they don't seem to be picking them off, which I'm really pleased about. That mouth is actually used or designed to be used to get into the shells, like the multifasciatus and the Simulus, and so they get into the shell, and their mouth goes in, and then they suck out the babies that are in the shells, because that's how they one of their main prey items. So they definitely can't be kept with multis. That's lay lupi's in there. They're probably hiding. That's only a few days old, that tank. They're actually going through the motions of breeding. They're the purple lay lupi in there, and you can see all that sand. I didn't put all that sand up on the bunny rubble house there, as I sort of call it. The pit at the back, there's dug another pit over there, and there's a pit at the back left-hand side as well. So they may actually have eggs now, because they've been spawning for about 2 weeks, that sort of display.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and as I say, that sand for lay lupi, they've pushed all that up there into the... He's obviously happy with that house that I've put in there, so...
Might be one in there, but...
This tank is black ocellatus, so it's a girl here. The boy is in that big shell behind her, so he's the one and only known boy that I've got, so he's a lucky boy.
Oh.
I will take him out of there and put him into the tank where the 4 females are in this one, and see if that will spawn.
On the never-ending to-do list.
Never-ending to-do list. And there are babies in here. See my last spawn?
Oh, good. Yeah.
So these are the guys that I'm just waiting to grow out, and there's another one on the left there as well.
Yeah.
They're hopefully be another boy or two in there. I like this tank though because of the moss that's growing out the top of it.
Oh yeah, what do you know what type of moss that is?
Farm moss.
Okay.
It just comes up with my bonsais and stuff when I do it. Next tank over is a really unusual tank. It's full of, that's the breeding tank for the Hawaiian sunsets, but it's also, look at the Cordopunctatus in there.
Yeah.
See the babies that are down here as well.
They would be the babies from last time. Yeah, they're bigger now.
And if you look into the shell, there's another spawn over there of tiny ones that she'll be over.
Oh, yep, you can see them.
Yeah.
So you can see the full life cycle from when these guys were actual fry to now being big and then the next lot.
Yeah. And how cool, like, I mean, those platies will eat those fry for sure if the parents were there, but the other babies don't eat them. They're a really interesting fish. They do lots of displays as well, the Cordopunctatus. Look at the way, you can tell them it's been sort of in clean the sponge filter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got all these plants growing everywhere too.
Yeah, look at them. Yeah, I can't. I literally just have to keep cutting them, and I'll stick them into there, and I come back and it's grown again. So
I wanted you to talk us through this tank.
yeah, all right. That's a 24 karat gold guppies, true line breeding, which is great. Had them for a few years now as well. Again, in my old fish room, and they just keep going and going and going. So I've never really had any issues with them. That tank is really just set up for them. I thought the other day I wanted to put something different in as far as substrate, and I found I had that red sand for my bonsais, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put that in there, and I think it looks okay.
Looks great. This is such a cool tank.
Yeah,
it's such a cool tank.
It's like all that life,
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And then that one there, if you look right down the bottom, you'll see really tiny baby Sunspot brevis. There'd be at least 20 or 30 of those guys, and the parents are in the shell at the back of them there.
Yeah.
They did have another spawn not so long ago, but I've got a feeling that something's disrupted them. I didn't have any plecos in any of those tanks, and I've got plecos in 3 of the 4.
Right.
And they're bred, and you'll see the little baby plecos like the same size as the Sunspot brevis in there as well, same size.
It's on the top of the sponge filter.
Yeah.
Maybe that's disrupted it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to, unfortunately, clean that tank out. I won't do it while they're young. I'll let them grow up now. And
Yep.
the left-hand side there's more Sunspot brevis. They're the fry of that parents on the right-hand side, so they're the next generation. And I've got 4 in there, 2 pairs. And there's some Chinese longfin white clouds that Eliza gave me that I'm growing out there, and I'll add them to the tub most likely, but I just wanted to see what they look like, and I'll let them go nuts in here. I'll put a heap more weed in, and then a week later I'll take them out and I'll just grow the babies up in there as well. That one there, I didn't clean the glass there for that one, but they're blue Medaka rice fish. Same thing with that tank, it's just full of Java moss. It's got a sponge filter. I don't do anything with it. I feed it very lightly, but I like them so much is that you can put the parents in there, a group of them, with a whole heap of weed, enjoy them, for a week or 2 or whatever, that close contact that you get and was their breeding, take them out and then do nothing to the tank for 2 weeks and then have a look at it, and there'll be a heap of babies in there. Like, it's just such a brilliant way to...
Daisy's blue are these guys?
Those guys are the platinum blues, so they're outside as well, which I'll show you outside. But
So these are actual Medakas?
They're the Medakas, yeah. And of course they come from Japan, so they can go under snow. So, the bowls outside that I've got, which are quite shallow all winter, I don't touch them. These guys in here are the gold ocellatus.
These are so cool. I fell in love with these last time.
Yeah, they are my favourite of the ockies. Look at this guy down here displaying. Again, I would have had them for 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer. I bought them from a chap in Melbourne, and the line that they get through, the purple through them, is just amazing when it's in the sun, or in the sunlight from there, or the other light. Some Hawaiian sunrise platies, 2 females. I'm looking for a male.
I got some at the fish room.
All right, I'll definitely take a boy, because then they'll kick off like the other ones did. And they're the gold. Are they long fins or short fins?
No, they're short fins. I didn't have any
yep.
long fins.
They're the ones that you brought me down today. Thank you
I
very
bred
much.
these, so...
Yep, so they're going to be my
feeders.
Dither fish. Yeah. They're really it's amazing. They're really aggressive with each other, but with other fish, not so much. Like they'll attack fry, of course. They're definitely predators in that regard, but they don't spend a whole heap of time worrying about the platies. They're just interested in each other and food and breeding, and that's a girl there. You see the pairs? So this is a girl, this is a boy.
Cool.
Another girl over here as well. So I'm hoping to get some bubbies out of that. Next one down is the last time you'll see this Congo tank. I gave it just a quick water change this morning. He's the Moramid, the elephant nose. You'll get a good shot of him.
Oh, finally, hey?
So he's a Moramid, or Mormyrid, depending on how you pronounce it. I saw a thing on Dean's Instagram where he had a whole heap of elephant nose in a tank. I don't know if it was his tank or whether it was a tank that he had there, but I just thought that's pretty cool. And I've got the ability with the black worms to feed them. I've got the size, so they're going to go into the tank up the top, which I'll show you shortly. And this whole Congo tank is going to get upsized to the next tank, and this is going to be where I put the G'daids.
Right.
So they're deserving of a good fish, and they're deserving of a good tank. And then I'll just clean that up, and then I'll rescape it. I'll leave the valve and
Good
stuff.
plan.
Here's another new tank, a couple of days old. Well, it's an old tank, but just rescaped. That was just full of Medaka rice fish.
What exactly is this rock here?
Perfect timing, Tone arriving, because Tony gave me that white rock. It's a sand. I don't know if it's a sandstone, but he gave me 3 big rocks, and I just didn't have anywhere to sort of fit them into the tank and just them up there. But I hit them with a hammer and screwdriver, just sort of chiseled them, and they just broke perfectly to make that.
Looks like sugar.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, and or snow. Well, when I was putting it down, I thought it's like that snow type effect, and I just took scoops and scoops out of that other tank to get these endlers into here. So I'll sell out of this tank, but effectively I'll just choose the best ones, and I thought I might even put them into this side over here.
Restart them.
Yep, and then just have them going. I've got something in there. What's that? Oh, that's a cardinal. That's one that mosses out of my cardinal breeding tank. There you go.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. I thought, it didn't work. How about that? So
That's cool.
I have not fed that thing at all.
Yeah.
And that's where my snails. This is really just that tank for snails, really. So, yeah, that's cool. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Last one up here, because this is like a before shot. The next time you come down, this will be. That's got 20 plus rummy nose in here, which are massive sort of food hogs. I'm going to make that the Congo tank. So it won't be too dissimilar, but I've got a whole heap of val. See how the val, I really like the way the val looks down there.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is just do like a, like that seaweed effect that you see, the kelp.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something like that. And then that's where I'll put the Muramid elephant nose. He'll go up there, and then I'm going to get you or Ross or someone to find me another 4 or 5, or I'd like to have 7 of them. 7 of the Moramids, the elephant nose, and then that would be a very cool tank because they're very active fish. The Crebensis.
There was one in there.
The Crebensis she's beautiful. Like, I wish I could find a male that would be worthy to sort of put her with. And then really around this side, it's just the other side of the Medakas, of course, but then what's left of the Guppies in there.
Yeah, you can see the Medakas there.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And then you got...
They're just you call them culls, I guess, but the
Assorted.
females... Yeah, what I've been doing with these ones, I'm not trying to breed a line necessarily, but I'm trying to get all the females to look nice. So if the females, the majority of them in there are the females, and they've got colourful tails, they've got colourful dorsals, they're reasonable size, they're not bent spines and all the rest of it. And this is why, as you know, how hard it is to get guppies and get a good line going. I'm going to worm all of the guppies now before I sell any of them as well. So when they come out, I can just rest assured that, because if you're going to breed guppies, anyone can breed guppies, and you can breed a really shit quality that goes on and, gets worse and worse. But if you do it with such a way that, you're focused on that or breeding that quality, then I just think you get a better line of fish the whole way through,
Definitely.
Shops like you can actually rely upon on the fish that you get, so.
Thanks for covering me there.
Yeah, I didn't want you to fall A over T. That's just been going forever. That plant, I'm pretty sure that's like a bladderwort, that carnivorous plant.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't do anything with this, so I just let it go. But that's got where I breed the ram's horns, and then I also have down the bottom...
Blackworms.
The blackworms, yeah.
Swirl them around every now and then and take a few out.
Basically.
That's the whole inside of the room. Tony's here, so
yep.
We're going to go and have a look around and go outside.
Check out outside and anything else that you want to look at. All right, outside now. Hasn't changed a whole heap since last time, so I haven't had any time off. But what I'm planning to do over the next 2 weeks is do a lot of the landscaping out here and move some tanks and tubs around and have a cascading waterfall. But this is a previous project that my dad and I built, this aviary, and from the outside looking in, before the birds go nuts, it's just full of Australian finches, Australian parrots.
What's that one down there?
So that's a king quail. It's called a tuxedo quail. It's a mutation, so it comes from, I think, from a cinnamon and a normal, but I'm not 100% sure. There's 2 of those guys in there.
You can see the rice fish on top.
Rice fish, yep, in there. And then the different birds. If you stay there, if I stand in here, they'll fly out there. The different colours.
In he goes. Oh wow! Adrian's farmhouse.
So yeah, there's some beautiful Australian birds. And again, same with the tanks.
I love these things, man. They're little penguins.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they? I want some more of those. I'm actually trying to find some online. So see the king parrots?
Yes.
Yeah, they're beautiful, these birds. That's the mummy, and then the one that's changing colour, that one that just flew off up there, how his head's starting to change colour to a red, he's going to be a boy, or he is a boy. He'll be a beautiful coloured up male though shortly. I hand feed those guys up on the balcony.
That's awesome.
They're beautiful. So you'll see, again, haven't done anything to it, but that tub over there, that bathtub is, I'll turn this pump off, that bathtub is full of Daphnia. That's where I put all those logs, which turned into Daphnia culture.
Right.
Yeah, that Daphnia culture is just growing down there. This one is for the tiger Medakas. That's my rooster, by the way. His name is Cluck Norris. So he's actually got a broken toe, so he stands on one leg all the time. Oh, you just nearly got them. There they are.
You can't see them. We'll have to go
Yeah.
underwater, but you got the little mops here. Eggs.
Hopefully the bloody snails are on them already. They've only been in there a day, but here's one of the tigers here. You can get over the top, probably the glares. This is the tank that I planted out expecting these guys to go nuts, and I did notice a couple of babies, but I don't know if you'll see how many of these are in here, but there's just hundreds of tadpoles of the striped marsh frogs, and I know they are because I found the little floating, this guy, if I can catch him.
So that's your tiger.
Yeah, these are from Eliza originally. Yeah, I like Medakas. They're just a friendly fish, you know, and they don't do too much damage. But the tadpoles in here have just gone nuts, and I'm sure that they've smashed all the babies. Because the next tub over, there's frogs that have gotten in here as well. But you see the blues, if you can see those better.
Oh, yep, much better.
They're a really platinum blue as well. And all I do is because the frog bit goes nuts, I just try to make little channels for them, you know, that they can get up, and I've got air going nuts over here, so it's aerated, and you find the males are in the air a lot, and then the babies, I just try to do that as often as I can, and that'll take a few days to close up. The bees I find too, they love these flowers. This is usually covered in bees, but I try to get some sort of swimming channel across the whole pond for them, because the babies literally will just come up then and sit in those areas, you know, and that's where I feed. So there was about 50 blue cherry shrimp. I don't know if there's any on the sides. I don't know how many there are now, but I've seen lots of babies. So, and they were really blue, but there's that lily coming up. Yeah, I love playing in ponds. It's like being a kid again. This is all I used to do, is just play in ponds exactly like this. There's nothing in this one, but you'll see what I'm doing. I'm tempted to just put a really good strain of a cherry shrimp of some sort, you know, orange, yellow, blues or whatever. I don't know if I will, but I've been cycling the tank and I can turn all the air off. Each one's got air on it. So yeah, I'd give it a clean out, and I'd get rid of all of the hair algae and get it back to some sort of condition. But I'm thinking just to let them go nuts, I might use the black strain because they're breeding pretty pure.
Yep.
So otherwise it's hard to pick out the colours, you know.
Look at that, by the way, just to look back at it. Now they've all come out.
They love coming to the top. And in the sunlight, they look amazing.
Yeah, they look really cool.
The nets are more for the birds.
Yeah, that'd cover the birds.
And the dragonflies that come up there. And see, look, more snail breeding all through here.
Oh, yep.
So these are, that's the flower that comes up off the Alodia. Nice, isn't it?
That's beautiful. Cool.
The bees love it. It must have a really good scent to it. So these are the koi swordtails.
Yep.
There are a few kahakus I've noticed as well, but I just keep pulling those out. But there's a heap of babies, and I've like you'll see, they'll come to the top. No doubt about that. I'll throw a little bit of food in. I thought it'd be a problem catching them because I've got heaps of sticks and everything in there. I do what I do with cherry shrimp, which is get them at night time. So I come out with that light that I've got inside, and I shine it on the side of the tubs,
yep.
and it illuminates through that way, and then I just come through and I actually get to choose them. So like, there's a heap, like hundreds, but I can actually pick them really easily instead of chasing them. I don't disturb them at all. Yeah, I find it's great. Look at the way the Elodia grows outside.
Yeah, it grows much better outside.
Yeah. There was only about 6 white clouds that I had left when I put them in here, hence I got them off Eliza. These ponds have gone through a massive cycle. You can see all the hair algae that's mixed with everything else.
So it also looks like you might have some frog eggs down here.
Correct, yep. So this is one of the things in summertime that you've got to check regularly for. So they weren't there, I think, even yesterday when I looked through the tubs. So yeah, if they get loose, then you just get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So as you can see there, I don't like to throw them away because they're frogs and not cane toads.
Yep.
So I've got like a little refuge for them down here.
Good idea.
And it's just set up so if they're meant to live, then they live.
What's in this one here?
I love this tank, well, this tub. See the orange Medaka rice fish? They're brilliant coloured, especially in the sun, like they just shine. They're the best ones I've actually seen that awesome. Colour up orange, you know. You can see all the babies in here.
Oh yeah?
Like this is a tank that's just
they're
gone.
Going crazy.
It's just perfect. It was quite hot and I was a bit worried about them. They weren't breeding. But what happened is all the weed, hair, algae, everything, it just exploded. It went nuts, and I thought, oh, well, that's destroyed the tank. But of course, what it did was create the environment for the eggs to hatch in, the fry to eat, all the infusoria and all the stuff that goes with it, and then they've just been breeding and breeding and breeding, and then with the thick coat of hair algae, it's actually dropped the temperature of the tank down. So now it's at this perfect balance where, you know, light to algae ratio to anything as far as infusoria ratio, it's just really balanced. You can see I cut the stairs in, the grass is holding it together.
Oh yeah.
But that'll be, I'm just gonna have gravel on here and have steps down here, but I've got another tank like this, which I'll show you up there, which is full of shrimp and has been for years. These are my goldfish. This black mole here, he's 25 years old, and I can date him exactly because I bought him and took him to my wife's school, who's a school teacher, for her class, and I maintained that tank for them. But every other fish in there, again, would have to be anywhere from sort of 3 to maybe 10 years old. There's this big white one here with the orange spot, and he said I really like him. They do have a name, and I forget, in the koi world, because it looks like the Japanese flag. Yeah, he's an old fish as well. All these babies, they're both kohaku and the kois. I threw just kohaku in here. You see one of the parents, the dads there?
Yeah, they're huge.
Yep, and they've been throwing out these kois. Goldfish, yeah, they don't bother them. And you know how I was talking about inside on the top of my tank, the 8-footer?
Yep.
I was talking about this.
Oh yeah.
Like, because it's shallow enough
Yeah, that'd be cool.
to sit like that.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe in that corner, and with all those plants around it, and then I'd fill that with bio balls and bits and pieces and just have it overflowing into the 8-footer.
That'd be
So we're on the same page there. And that is just an old tub that I had, but it's just the most tannic water I've ever seen, and it's full of mosquito larvae and stuff, so I just scoop out of that every night, and then I'll clean that up. That'll go down here. I'm pretty sure I'll just do cherry shrimp in it, the ones I'm taking out from up there. So it'll be no fish, or maybe Vietnamese white clouds or something tiny that can go into there, and then I'll just cascade out as it goes down and then back up through that system. So, and then I can walk along there and feed the whole thing. You know, I like to try to plan it so I can actually do a loop in some way, shape or form. This is the one that so it's exactly the same as the goldfish one. So so they're horse or cow drinking troughs. This one is going to go down underneath the level of the other one, so it'll cascade down into this one, from the goldfish into this one, and then down into the rectangle one. But this one, if you have a look even at the top, is thousands of cherry shrimp. You see them disappearing down there, but
I'll stop trying to breed these then.
And I've got every colour you can think of. Look at them all. Yeah, reds, blues, yellows, greens, oranges. I've got Riley shrimp in here.
Yeah, you can see them in your hand really well.
I've got jade green. Thousands and thousands and thousands I've had over the years out of this, and I just scoop them out, and I'm actually going to give Tony a net and let him pick all his own shrimp out of here.
It's
blacks,
so pretty.
blues, yellows. Yeah,
it is really pretty. What are these plants called?
Good question. Actually, it's on the tip of my tongue. And you're a landscape gardener.
No.
They are like an edible yam. It'll come to me, the name of them, but yeah, taro. Thank you. They are our version of taro, which is different again in Papua New Guinea and all those other different places. But that is I think that's the Aussie one. And you can use it like a potato. So if you eat it raw, it tastes terrible. If you cook it like a potato, it's a fantastic substitute. It's really similar. And that's the root, the bulb in the mud that you get out and you peel it like normal. So
Cool.
yeah, that's the other tub. Let's go and have a look. And those ones up there, you'll see. I'll just give you a look of what's in those ones out in that balcony, because that's where I've been breeding the Medaka rice fish as well, and Tony's fish are in that one up there.
Past the chickens. The rooster. Cluck Norris.
Yeah,
Hey?
yeah, that's Cluck Norris. So he's a rescue. So he got hit by a car, and my daughter is a vet nurse, and he came into accident and emergency. Someone just dropped him off, and they were going to euthanize him. And she said, "Can we bring him home?" And I said, "Yep, well, we'll give him a crack." And there you go. So he's had a broken toe. He had all his feathers taken off the back from the road and all the rest of it, but he's come back pretty well, and he's landed on his foot, as it were. I think he's got 12 or 13 girls in there now, so I'm letting them actually breed up so I can replicate the flock, so I don't have to buy any more. And so there's a couple of girls on eggs at the moment.
Perfect.
And I just feed us and them out of the garden, you know. Healthy chooks.
Perfect. Let's go in. Oh, wow.
Yeah, look, he's even displaying up the top there. I plan to do a water change on that today, 30%, and I've got it on a siphon that the siphon goes down 2/3 and then it cuts out, so if I ever forget it. and then I've got the water that I just turn straight on. It fills straight up from the hose over here. So I did that. It's about 15-minute type thing. So I was working away in the fish room, and about 30 minutes later, I've gone, oh, the water, and I came out and it was all through here, all through there, all into the apartment, my dad's apartment. It was everywhere. So I had to get out the vac. I was not happy in any way, shape or form. But anyway, so now it's had 100% water change, and then some. But look at the fish; they go nuts.
Fish love it.
Yeah. So I haven't put any tang buffer in that, obviously, since the water changed. So that's just gone in at whatever Gold Coast pH is. And look at them.
So for all those who haven't watched the previous video, what are these?
So these are Pseudotropheus solosi.
And these are the same fish, by the way.
They are. So they're
females, males.
Correct. So they're an Mbuna cichlid from Lake Malawi in Africa. And the blue ones are the boys, they're the dominant males. And then the varying degrees of colours that go down are the males. So those grey ones are males.
That'd be a male, just a sneaker.
Yep, so sleepers or sneakers, yep. And then you've got the females. Now, the females, when they're holding, will actually look like males. So you will see a difference in them in their colour, but they just, again, mouth brooders, and then they'll spit the babies into the rocks, into the crevices.
And you get these little babies.
They will eat the babies, like they're not 100% passive, but the babies are so quick. I'd say 2/3 more than that, 3/4 survive all the time. You get fast fish. That log is hollow up the centre. So there's not only that, it's plecos in there, there's babies in there. They come out and feed whenever I put food in the tank. They go nuts. Look at those two boys displaying there.
Nuts.
I don't keep too many of the Malawis, obviously the acara in there, but this is the only other one I keep because they're aggressive. I suppose they're fast, active, but they're not the peacock aggressive. They don't kill each other. Those boys will fight like that all day, and they won't take a chunk out of each other's fins. And the display is great. Look at the pit that he's dug in here. This was level.
Yep.
And then they'll spend all day doing that and going in and out, and then the females will come in. And I'm interested at some point in time to add some of the, is it the Synodontis catfish that you've got, Tony? That they actually lay their eggs while these guys are spawning, and then these guys actually produce and hold the catfish eggs in their mouth and then produce what is little baby catfish out of it.
All right, well, should we head upstairs?
Head upstairs.
Let's do it. So we're now upstairs in Adrian's living room,
Yep.
and we've got a beautiful plant rack over there.
Yeah, it's gone nuts as well. This is mostly
I
my
love
wife
that
and daughter,
Senegal.
but they've got different sorts. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's
Grow that in the top of your tank. It'll go nuts.
yeah. I've got to do that. That's my daughter is actually the one that buys most of these, but I like this one.
This marble queen?
I don't know. It's like a pepper. There's no sign on it, but I love the look of it. To me, and a yellow one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a
Snow
nice one.
queen.
Like that. Yeah.
Philodendron Brazil.
And how about this for a little cool little idea? Yeah,
Peace lily.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, peace lily. Yeah, and I got a little bit of swordtails in the bottom of it.
All right, let's look at these.
Okay, not a whole heap of change in them other than just some growth, but really well balanced. Tank still, you'll see the Vietnamese white cloud minnows are still in there. They haven't bred for me yet, but I'm not necessarily keeping them to breed them either. It's just something that I enjoy the look of them. They are a real tiny nano fish, and they don't have the ability, I don't think, to eat the shrimp. So I've got the crystal blacks in there as well.
Yeah, there's a good little crystal black here.
Yeah, so I bought another 3 from Ross the other day down there, and I want to get that tank stable enough to actually produce the crystal blacks just over and over and over. There's a dozen pygmy corridoras in there, which you'll probably find them right up the corner. If you look under there, there's a tunnel, and you'll see them on the rock up there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, and then I've just got the Anubius and then our petite.
I should give you some variegated Anubius.
Please,
Really
yeah,
good.
I'd love to put it in here as well. And the Bucephalandra from Ross that he gave me as well. That's growing really well. It has flowered too. And then the dwarf hairgrass, Monte Carlo is carpeted. I thought it was a pink flamingo, but it's a different name.
What's that? I've got that all over the fish room.
It's a really nice one.
I know. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it's a low covering carpeting plant. It doesn't like light as much, I find. See, a lot of the time I'll turn that light like that, and I'll leave it like that for a couple of weeks. Like I won't bother because it certainly doesn't grow hair algae while I've got it in there. But it grows the other plants. But they like low light, and you can see the moss that's growing at the top there doesn't like being too dry. But I wet that down all the time. But that whole tank goes way better when it's dark.
The spider grass has gone nuts.
It's going really well, yeah. And see the way, I love the way that it shoots out the runners.
Look at this one, it's like levitating.
Yeah, look at because it comes along there.
Does it flower?
It does, yeah. And the Spanish moss is growing as well. It needs a water, but I just take it off there and soak it in there and put it back up. Different pothos growing out and all the rest of it.
Cool, and then this other one.
And then the other tank, oh yeah, the female apisto's out.
Ooh.
Nice enjoy. All the boys over here too.
Yep.
Yeah, that tank is like, for anyone old enough to remember the movie Highlander, it's like there can be only one. That apisto right there has killed 4 other apistos in that tank. I put them in as a group. They grew up as a group. I didn't think there'd be any problems putting them in there. I put him in there and he just nailed the 2 males.
Horrible
and then
to each other.
Oh, he went ballistic, and then he killed, out of the bloodfin tetras, he killed 4 or 5 of them as well. So I've just restocked them from Ross the other day because I really like them as a tetra. Cool. I think they're beautiful, especially when they grow up. And I like when you feed them too, their bellies get red. So in with the neons, he's never caught one of the neons, but he's been an absolute shocker. I've got 2 or 3 still of the Borneo suckers, but you won't see them because as soon as they come out, he just nails them. Wherever they are in the tank, he just has to nail them. So I reckon they're feeding of a night time because there's not much.
Look at him being.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, that was a friend brought that back from her trip around Romania or somewhere like that overseas, and she brought that back for me, which was very nice, and it's survived that long. And I put it under there so the cats don't knock it off.
Beautiful.
If you have a look to the right of that tank, you'll just see the way it's set up around this side here, just with the pump. So I've got the pump so I can actually just pull it out. It's a basket in there and the rocks are actually silicon to the basket, so I don't have to pull that structure down at all. I take the top off, I lift the pump straight out, I wrap some new filter floss out, and I drop it straight in, and I try to do everything as I can as low maintenance. And the aim to get it as beautiful as possible, but as functional as possible. And again, if you can create that art that you can look at and it actually inspires you every time that you look at it, I mean, that's the aim.
It
really
looks heaps better since last time.
It's grown in well. Yeah,
nailed it.
I'm happy with the way it's come along, and I do top-ups with the lids on it. I hardly have to touch it really. It's just a top-up of water or a water change every now and again. I do a third of the tank and then off they go. So I'm hoping that they breed. Look at I love the way they look in the Sawasatang there. Oh, and it grows like a hedge, you know?
It's so cool. Do you want to do outside or?
Yep.
Let's go. All right, we'll go outside and have a look at the last things.
Last one. So we're out in the back balcony overlooking the ponds and everything down there.
Yep, so the ponds are all down there.
They are. These 2 bowls have been here last summer, last winter, and the only thing I really have done to them is they get filled with the rain and everything, but I put the parent Medakas in there, and then I leave them, they were in there for the year, and then I put them into the pond down the back, and this is what's left in the tub after they've gone. So this is their spawn.
There's a little blue one in there.
They actually turn orange, so they come out quite white. See, the little one's white.
Yep.
But the longer they're in there, the darker that they get. Those ones there are Tony's. I've got to catch all those on out for Tony.
And then over here?
And this one is just red cherry shrimp. It's actually, I had blue Medaka in here, but I got some sort of infestation of dragonfly larvae, and it just killed all the fish. So it's really just a pond that's full of, you probably won't. Yeah, there are some huge cherry shrimp. If I can find one, I'll pull one out, like massive shrimp. So yeah, so that's just a cherry shrimp, but they're a really dark red. What I like about this is the inside of this, see the...
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that. Is that Java moss?
Yeah. And all this, how it just grows up. And so I just have kept this going because of the cherries that are in there, but I'm going to pull this down. And I was actually thinking I'd put put a mangrove in here, and actually have this as a saltwater sort of a bowl out there.
Well, that pretty much completes everything. So
Does.
Thank you so much for letting us come through your home again and
my
showing
pleasure.
us your whole collection, and I can't wait to see it all develop, and especially all your outdoor ponds.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like in the next couple of weeks, it's something I can get my teeth into and do some landscaping down there. And I really like doing water cascading down, so that will be something to look forward to. You can come back and have a look.
Yeah, definitely. You have a beautiful home, and I really appreciate it. So
yeah, my pleasure.
All right,
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. All right,
cheers.
see ya.
Thank you. See you guys.